Why do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Have you noticed as the recession hits, the rich are almost unaffected, whereas every poor person is facing the worst crisis of their life? Did you ever wonder why? According to statistics, over the past 2 years, 68% of global wealth belonged to the 1% population, which is labeled as the extremely rich class. This means the remaining 32% was captured by the 99% population, amongst which more than half of the populace lives under the poverty line. What's the reason for such a drastic gap? Why weren't the poor able to get richer? What facilities made the rich even richer? Stay with me as I will answer all of your questions and many more. Reasons the rich get richer. A head start in life. A poor man dies poorer while a rich man dies richer. We've seen this happen multiple times in history. Since the times when the hierarchy was established, the rich families expanded their wealth to the point where they secured themselves for centuries to come, while the peasants suffered the brute force of an unfair world. But why does this happen? The answer is simple. When you're rich, you have a gigantic head start in life. Pretty much anything you can think, the top 1% have it better than you. One of the most important aspects is education. An heir from a wealthy family is naturally born to only attain the best of degrees and qualifications and receive a far superior education. Let's say you're a CEO looking to hire someone. Would you hire someone who has a wealthy background, a Harvard degree, and a private institution history? Or someone who's graduated from some government university, attended public school, and is from a middle school background? 9 times out of 10, you would choose the Harvard graduate. This is one of the bitter realities of the society we live in. Just to be on a level playing field, you need to work 10 times as hard as someone born rich. Not to mention someone the same age as you, but from a wealthier background, has already had far greater exposure to money, investments, and the nitty-gritty of business from practical experience and observation alone. They have far more capital for startups and businesses without the worry that this would be their first and final chance. While it is a pretty unfair world, I would like to remind you that at the end of the day, it all boils down to how hard you work for a better life. By no means do you not have a chance in life. Leveraging loopholes. As the saying goes, there are no laws for the rich. This is true to an extent. Most well-off families have the financial know-how to leverage laws to their fullest. Even if they don't, they can hire someone who does. But what does leveraging loopholes in the legal system mean? Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen your favorite millionaire starting up huge charity organizations, giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in charity? You hear of these chivalrous acts one day, and a year later, there's not even an echo of where this money went in most cases. This is done by many millionaires as a way to write off taxes, maintain and grow their wealth, because it allows individuals and corporations to claim tax deductions for charitable donations. Moreover, for the huge money-making businesses they run, the biggest loophole is their exploitation of third world countries. $10 doesn't sound much to a U.S. citizen, but $10 is what decides whether someone can live another day in Africa. You can imagine how desperate some third world citizens are for the slightest money. This allows many wealthy families to exploit these people for dirt cheap while still getting international standard labor. Reasons the poor get poorer. Limited access to opportunities. Inadequate financial literacy. If you have our channel, you would know the importance of financial literacy, as we have discussed countless times how important it is. Financial literacy determines which social class you will be in and how much wealth you can make. Most third companies lack education, let alone financial. They are unaware of the tactics and strategies needed to have a successful business, which is why even if they have an innovative idea, they would never be able to successfully market it to its full extent. Their naivety makes them a victim of elaborate coons and MLM schemes. Since they are not aware of the complexities of a business, they cannot differentiate between a gimmick and an actual trustworthy opportunity. The tragedy is, The poor get a harder blow than the rich. The poor work all their life to save up a few pennies, but through elaborate schemes of lies, scammers convince them to invest the sum into a scheme that ends up bankrupting them and making them afraid to ever trust again, falling prey to unequal systems and exploitive systems. As we have discussed previously, there is a huge educational gap between the poor and the rich. This obviously limits the job opportunities they are presented with. They are offered low-status jobs with no added benefits like health insurance and retirement plans. Due to inadequate labor rights, they face workplace abuse and are overworked with minimal wages, which are barely enough to provide them with basic necessities. And thanks to the rising inflation, the wages are becoming more and more inadequate for survival. If all these disadvantages weren't enough, the lower class is more susceptible to racism, sexism, and class discrimination. Therefore, the hiring process is extremely biased, further limiting their chances of getting out of the slums. It's truly unfair how their lack of awareness is exploited by mass corporations who underpay them for their skills. All these factors combined make it almost impossible to ever get out of the abusive and undesirable lower class. In conclusion, the rich have privileges that further assist them in accumulating more wealth, and this is often at the expense of the lower class's well-being, while the lower class is left behind in many sectors and more prone to exploitation and scams. There is no way to fight this flawed system. Since the beginning of time, we have seen the separation between the classes in this capitalist world. Perhaps only a massive worldwide public riot could chase this millennial-old separation of the social classes, and quite frankly, I don't see that happening. Thank you for sticking until the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Comment your thoughts down below. Until next time, goodbye.